We're live, yes. Guys, we actually did, remarkably, I think we did probably close to 50 episodes live. By the time next one, the last one of the year is done next Friday, it's going to be pretty close to 50, maybe. I think pre-recorded 7. The way I look at it, when I'm traveling, if I have access to an academy with good acoustics and the time slot, we'll do live, even if we're traveling. If we're not, if I don't, then we just pre-record. Anyways, we're live, episode 51, closing in on the year end. I have a topic in mind, sort of De La Riva, reverse De La Riva, to go over some of the sort of finer points of some techniques. But you guys know the format. If you have live questions, start asking away, and that will take priority. Ziggy's licking the camera. Guys, let's talk about De La Riva guard. It is, so when we talk about guards, I tend to play 5 to 7 guards account for probably 95% of my guarding. Occasionally I'll play outside of that, be it octopus or be it half guard, but generally speaking, 5 to 7 guards account for 95%. Split guard and Urigatame, which is subsection of split guard, is my number one priority. Is my preferred. K guard, parallel, perpendicular guard. But De La Riva is a good guard. I don't use it as often as I used to. So I personally have found that shin to shin is better than De La Riva. So a lot of times, if I play De La Riva and he successfully shoves this down and I cannot invert or cannot do something else, he's in a good position to start passing my guard. Yeah. Now I have to sort of go in defensive mode. I have found the shin to shin with my foot just about, somewhere between his hip and I don't go on his knee and I don't go to the hip. I go somewhere in between. If he shoves this down before he can start passing, at the very least, this allows me better to reset and also off balance him. So I have kind of replaced De La Riva and reverse De La Riva with shin to shin. Okay? Now, reverse De La Riva is a good way to enter into the legs. But again, I have found it to be, a lot of times I'm here and the guy shoves the leg and then I go to reverse De La Riva. But if PJ lowers his level and blocks my head, now he blocked my entries. So generally speaking, I prefer, so if he shoves my leg down, I prefer to off balance and go back in. And if he now postures up, I prefer sort of the K guard entries, into basically legs and back take. So you need to figure out the status of your game. Where are your feet most often when you have somebody in your open guard? If sort of it's the De La Riva position, you should probably play around with a few techniques from De La Riva as well as sort of reverse De La Riva, because if they shove that foot down, it's time to enter into reverse De La Riva. One thing is to be successful, you kind of need to set the guy up. You need to kind of manage their level, because for a clean reverse De La Riva entry, you want to kind of have him posture up briefly, and now you have a clean shot. I generally, again, I prefer K guards just because I prefer to go outside as opposed to through the middle. And the reason for that is first of all, as you know, I have a bad back, but also, in a self-defense scenario or MMA scenario, you're vulnerable if the guy can block you, pretty much straight shot to the face. That's always a problem. So I tend to prefer K guards, but again, De La Riva has been historically a very important guard for me, and still remains to this day, although not as much as it used to be. Yes, we have a question.
We have 2 questions.
We have 2 questions.
Yes.
All right.
First question: do you prefer to underhook the heel or just grab it when you play De La Riva, reverse De La Riva?
That's a good question. So we're gonna go with initial De La Riva. So a lot of times, in order for you to have a good De La Riva, you want to control this arm, right? Two, when I start to enter, especially if I'm going deep, one of the most, let's pivot around. One of the most important things that I do is point my knee at the wall. You pointed, if PJ backsteps, he's going straight into a knee bar. Now I'm going into a defensive mode. I need to run. Oh, what do we got here? Anyways, it's extremely important once you sort of commit to the De La Riva entries, point that knee at the wall, not at the ceiling. Otherwise you're gonna be vulnerable to a knee bar. So let's look at it again. So when I'm going, so a lot of times, to be honest with you, I don't even grab the heel if I'm playing straight De La Riva. I focus on the arm control, and this is what gives me sort of the entry. So from here, if I do straight De La Riva, go back, PJ, for me. So here, I can always, you can play berimbolo, so you can knock him down, and then depends which way he falls. Now we have back entries, okay, off berimbolo. So that's an option. Another option is, so back take. Okay, this is from straight De La Riva. And one of my favorites, especially, this is probably decent option for guys with longer legs, is to do De La X. So it's a combination of X guard and De La Riva. But again, the key is controlling that hand. From here, I have a lot of options. I can drop him down. I can try to attack Kimura, and usually what I'll try to do is push him away with my legs and then bring him on, and then a lot of times he rolls up, and I just, from here, that should be a pretty good finish. So straight De La Riva, I don't really grab the heel that much. Now in a reverse De La Riva, it becomes a little bit more complicated because, again, I don't really play reverse De La Riva because I have found it, guys that are kind of cautious and can lower their level and block your head can easily counter it, and now they can start to break you apart. So I usually do reverse De La Riva, control that hand. So now I'm doing that entry as a response to him shoving my foot down, my right foot. So again, I'm controlling his arm. So as I direct his arm, this is where you're gonna get a reaction. Now from here, I'm not gonna grab the heel. I'm actually gonna try to go elbow deep. And when you invert, you need to synchronize your hand movement, your head movement, and the leg. That's the last piece. From here, guys, I can either have entries into the saddle or backside 90-10, and back entries. No, we create a hole. Because otherwise, guys, all the details are in the entries, all in the transitions. This is what you need to do. We don't go in there from, like static position. So, another one. So again, as he shoves it down, I'm going elbow deep, head, and my leg starts to straighten out. This is what gives me the inversion. I pull myself in, and now I also have the back entries. So there's a lot of options you have off De La Riva and reverse De La Riva. Again, as I said before, I have a tendency to focus more on the shin to shin guard, at least on my left side. Well, if he's coming to my right, obviously it should be the other leg if it was the other side. Shin to shin, that is my preferred way. But if I'm going to go De La Riva, you have, off the De La Riva, you have Backtake, you have De La X, and you have sort of berimbolo sweeps, then, coming up and attacking or taking the guys back. And off reverse De La Riva, you have entries into legs, into a very strong position, which is either saddle or backside 90-10 or Backtake. But again, we're out of time, man. Just, again, I usually try, anytime I'm attacking from the guard, it really is important for you to control the guy's posture. You want to try to bring it down, and if he postures up, that gives you opportunities to enter into the legs. So you need to make sure that you have something some sort of connection on the upper body. If he's standing straight, then, you know, either you have an entry into the leg. If his legs are too narrow, you attack the balance and then see what he gives you. But if you're going to be attacking sort of the legs, you need to kind of try to attack the upper body. If he gives you the upper body, attack the upper body. But if they posture up, which most people will, you have the entries. Guys, I will see you next week for the last episode, 52 of the year. We're going to be live.